Hey YouTube, this is Southern Prepper One. I want to talk about economics, a potential economic collapse in this country. I'm not going to give you dates, that's for sure. I just think that one day it will happen. As a prepper, I don't really dwell on that totally, like, oh my gosh, it's going to collapse. I live my life, but because I'm a prepper and all these hobbies I have that I enjoy doing, I enjoy putting food back. I enjoy organizing and making sure I have things on my homestead, so I don't, every time I need something I have to run to the store. To me, that's enjoyable. And all the homesteading skills and tasks that I do here are enjoyable. But they all go together to make me a prepared American, a prepper. But I want to talk about the economic situation we have in this country. We could wake up tomorrow and the stock market could collapse, the dollar could collapse. These are very evident that it could happen because of the policies our governments have in place, the policy of printing money, of having no value for our currency other than me and you willing to accept it. But one day people will say, hey, I don't want the US dollar anymore. And then we're going to have a serious problem in this country. 50% of Americans get a check from the government, be it whatever, some type of disability, welfare check, retirement check, or about 50%. So if those checks stop, that alone will collapse the country, and we will have a lot of turmoil. But I don't want to talk about that. What I want to talk about is how would an economic collapse or a stock market collapse affect me? Not to the point of we've turned in the raw and it's so bad, but let's just hypothetically say the stock market collapses tomorrow. And then for the next week it just keeps going down and down and down and down. And that translates from Wall Street to Main Street. And people tighten up their spending. And because of all this, more layoffs, and it's just this vicious circle. If let's hypothetically say some government checks are still flowing, or all government checks are flowing, but the value of it doesn't buy what it used to buy. So we have layoffs. Let's take it personal. My brother's family has a small business. Let's say he gets hit and he has to shut his doors. Now, he could take his savings and keep paying his mortgage, but if we look at it long term and say, brother, you know, this ain't going to end tomorrow, and you're going to wipe out your savings in 10 months, 12 months paying your mortgage payment, and then where are you going to be? So it might come to a point where he says, you know what, let me turn the keys over to the bank. Let me do no damage to my property. Let me give it back to the bank and walk away. Now, he is definitely, his family's welcome here. I'm prepared for that. So yes, they could come here. We could find housing for him here. Then what we could do is, instead of paying that mortgage payment, whatever money he can come in, it would help, you know, take care of him. If that happens, the social programs probably won't be working as well. So, you know, you think, I'll lose my job in a depression, then I'll go on food stamps. They might not be there, or what they do give you won't be able to feed you. So, make it personal. It crashes, but not at the point of raw. My brother's family moves in. Keeping it personal. My sister's family has a little bug out place that's paid for, so they would go back to there, close by me. My parents have a bug out location, so I think they would be fine. So really, I'd have to take care of my brother. And then I also have kids, so I have to make sure my kids are taken care of, my adult children. Then I have a lot of friends. You know, maybe one of them are going to lose their job and don't have their house paid off, and what are they going to do? So I have to think about, hey, could I take in some friends? I have some friends that are part of my retreat group. One works in law enforcement, so his job will probably be pretty secure for a long time. But if not, you know, they do have parents on one side they could go to, or they could come here. So living space will become, because people need privacy. You just can't throw, you know, your family members into your living room and then want to use your living room as a living room. It's going to cause a lot of problems. You've got to have dedicated sleeping areas that have privacy for everyone. So they have their own space, so they can retreat back, go to their own space, and then you have that separation. You can't have your sleeping space for your brother's family in the living room, and you're trying to use the living room, and they're trying to get privacy. There's going to be conflicts. There'll be more stress. Next, the collapses happen. money is not flowing. Let's talk about water and sewer. I have my own well. I have my own septic tanks. So right there, that would flow wisely. No problems with water or sewer as long as we have electricity. If we lose electricity, there's still no problems because I have a dedicated solar system on my well, so I can still get water. So that really is checked off. Next comes food. As a prepper, I've told you for a long time, get a year's supply of food. Now, I'm going to raise that because I have more than a year. So as much as you can afford. Get your basics put back and then work on other things. Work on canned goods that are short term. Stuff you use every day. At this point, looking down the road, looking at the economic problems, I would increase your canned goods, your short-term goods that you use every day. Try to get another month or two of those in stock right now. I think that'd be a wise investment. Next is security. Okay, we have an economic collapse, not at the point of raw, but people are out of work, and crime is going to go through the roof. That's what's just going to happen. So, what I'm going to do personally, let's hypothetically say my brother moves in and his family moves in with me because the economy is terrible. Security. I have perimeter fencing already established. So if you have the ability to put a fence around your property to market that, hey, this is my perimeter, please don't cross it. That's just a psychological deterrent to someone. It's also good for you because you know when you lock it at night and all the gates are locked and someone's on the other side of that fence, they did some effort. They didn't wander into your property by accident because there was no fence. So fence your property. You know, whatever fence will look good in your environment, put it in. You can always keep adding to that fence to make it stronger. If you look at third world countries, they have houses, and a lot of them have barbed wire fencing. They might have courtyards. They have broken glass on top of their things embedded into wet cement, so they're sticking up. They do a lot of things. Just make sure you do things that won't get someone hurt and get someone sued today. So I would increase my security posture. I have Dakota alerts and some other alarms around my property, so I know when people come on my property. In that situation, it might be at that point that one adult is up all night long. We rotate through a shift, and that's going to do a few things. First of all, it's going to be as a security guard for our property. It's also going to be, at that point, my chickens and other livestock that people have are going to be very valuable because that could be, you're relying on it for your food. So that person would also make sure there's no foxes or coons getting into the chicken coop, safeguard us, and another thing that which is huge is fire protection. If we're in that situation, we're going to probably be burning the fireplaces or the wood stoves more. We have an increased chance of a fire. If we have electricity, we won't be using candles and other means, but if we don't have electricity and you can't afford that, there's a huge chance of a fire. So that person would also be our fire protection. And I've done a lot of videos on fire protection. Set up a plan to put out a fire. Get it set up now. So all you got to do is run to it. Grab your hose. Pull your hose out. Have someone start your fire engine or your pump, and you got water flowing. You need to practice it. So within a minute, you can get water flowing in any of the important buildings to put the fire out. Medical. As you can see, I stockpile medical equipment, huge stockpile. The reason I stockpile, I've been to third world countries, and you can find a doctor, but the problem is the doctor has no clean equipment, nothing that he can use to help someone, even Tylenol, and over-the-counter medication he doesn't have. So it's a huge plus to have it. Even if you don't know it totally how to use these things, there's going to be someone that has that skill set that can say, hey, yeah, I know what I'm doing. You got this. We can help you out. We don't talk about it a lot, but the backboard. Hypothetically, in depression, your neighbor falls off his roof, or he's getting nuts out of a tree, or picking fruit out of the orchard, and he falls 10, 15 feet, hurts his back. How are you going to move him? You don't have a backboard. You might not be able to call 911 and get an ambulance there, or you could call 911, but the ambulance ride is so expensive that you can't afford it, so you don't do it. If you had your own backboard and you had a little bit of training, or you had someone there, you could package your patient and maybe physically take him to your local doctor and say, hey, this is what happened. What do I do? So having a backboard will definitely help, and knowing how to use it will help your medical plan. Entertainment. You know, a lot of people go out to movies, go out to eat. In a bad economics time, that's going to be cut out totally, probably completely. So what are the entertainment? You know, you get a couple families here. That alone will give you entertainment. But card games, kickball, wiffle ball in the backyard. There's so many things we can do. Sitting down and throwing a DVD in and having, you know, Thursday night movie night. That will give somebody something to look forward to. Game night. There's so many things. In the old times, what did they do? It was a big thing when they had their festivals or they had a dance, a barn dance. That was a huge, huge, huge thing for people that lived hundreds of years ago. And that might come back as, hey, we're gonna have a get together. Bring your guitar, bring your harmonica, bring whatever you can play, and we're gonna get together. I talked a little bit about heating. If it happens in the winter, for me, I'm big on wood stoves. So think about what you're gonna heat your house with. But for me personally, making it personal, I'm gonna make sure I have enough wood stocked. And if I have people here and they're not working because it's unemployment, we're going to be continually adding to our wood. Another thing is fuel. For me personally, I have right now probably 100 gallons of gasoline here. Yes, I know I need to get some more. What I do is I rotate it through and I'm in that rotation mode. So I need to, this next couple of days, is to restock some more fuel. Fuel during a depression is going to be very valuable, or if you can't get it, or you don't have any money to buy it. So the fuel for us is going to be, you just don't use, just, you know, throw the generator on. Anytime you use that fuel, it's like, do I absolutely need to use this fuel, and is it going to give me the biggest bang for the buck? So, tying fuel into shopping trips. For me personally, I'm not going to send my wife out to the grocery store. Even if there is a grocery store, it won't be like that. It'll be a joint with multiple people, adults, people armed with concealed weapons permits. It will be I will look at it as a major undertaking. It will be sort of like, you know, we're going to do a mission. The mission is go to get whatever supplies we need. And it's going to be very organized with checkpoints along the way so they can communicate with the radios and tell us after they pass each checkpoint. So back here at the retreat, we know exactly what happens. So if they do have even car trouble, we know exactly where they are. Or if there's a security problem, we know where they are. Hygiene. If I have a lot of people here, my 2 bathrooms, I have 2 septic tanks. Long term, that could cause a problem. So definitely would be outhouses built, and you'd use them. You'd only use the inside bathroom if it's at night, bad weather, or you're sick. The more we can use an outhouse and take the stress off that septic tank, the better it will be for everyone in the long run. Next, we don't have any income coming in. My retirement check from the military either stops or it's not really worth much. My brother's family's here, he's not working, so what we'll be doing here is trying to barter. I've put a lot of stuff back, medical supplies, all kinds of nuts and bolts. I have probably 500-600 pounds of nails and screws, and for me, I use them here, plus they're a barter item. I also have ammunition. You might say, don't trade them. There are some people in our group that I will gladly trade ammo with. They're like brothers and sisters, so I'm going to willingly trade, because a lot of them I know don't have the ammunition supply put back, but they have other things. So I would freely trade with people I love and care for. The average guy that shows up, I probably wouldn't trade ammo with him, but we'll have to see about that. So I'm trying to make it personal. If the stock market crashes, I'm going to have to do things to get by. At this point, it's not we fell off the cliff and we have roll and we have to man the perimeter of my property and do roving patrols. Right now, no, that's not it. It's just an economic collapse. It's a Great Depression and people are hungry, starving, and there's not a good banking system, and people just don't have money. So I want to challenge you. You do it personally. If the economy collapses, but we don't have the roll yet, what are you going to do to take care of yourself and your family? Thanks for watching.